Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Derek's Travel Chats for November 19th, 2020. Today, we were talking about travel insurance and why it's important to protect your vacation and your investment. My guest today is Susan Lawson of Allianz Insurance, Global Assistant. And Susan is the sales manager for Canada. Is that correct, Susan?
I'm actually the dedicated business development manager for your agency for TPI. And so I do have some partners nationally, yes.
Okay. And so Susan has been in the travel industry in different aspects for 40 years or so. And she's been with Allianz Insurance for the last 6 years in February coming. So welcome, Susan. It's a pleasure to have you on the show, and I'm looking forward to sharing your information with our viewers about travel insurance.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate being here.
Okay. So today, today the world is a different place than it was 9 months ago. And I hope that you and your family have been dealing with COVID in a positive way with this new normal. And just how has Allianz been working through this pandemic?
Well, thank you again, Derek, for inviting me to have this chat with you. As you mentioned, I'm a business development manager, sales representative, and so normally I spend my time talking to my partners, such as yourself. And so this is a unique opportunity to be able to speak to your clients, our clients. So I really do appreciate this chance. In terms of my own personal experience throughout these last 8 or 9 months, it certainly has been a journey. And I think that I keep saying every day a new beginning, because there is so much change. But I'm very, very grateful for all of the good in my life and for everything that we've been able to do at Allianz Global Assistance to help you and your clients during this time. So as a company, we are committed to helping our clients at a time when they need help the most. So for those unexpected emergencies that come up, that's why you buy insurance. That's why we're there to help. And of course, nobody would have expected COVID-19 to ever have happened, or that it has continued on this long. And so we have done our best to keep up with all of the changes and make the adjustments necessary to work closely with you and your clients to help them. In the beginning, of course, the real sense of urgency was to get everybody home. And so from that perspective, we're looking at the interruption part of the policy. So people that were on their vacation when this happened and needed to get home. And of course, anyone that was at destination and needed medical attention, we were definitely there for them during that time. And then as the months have gone on, we have been much more involved in helping people to go through the process of submitting their claims and getting their refunds. And as you can imagine, for the first time in our history, we've received tens of thousands of claims all at one time. And so we've done our best to manage through all of those claims. And, I want to say thank you to you, our partners, and to the clients for your patience and understanding. I know it has not been easy, but our goal has always been to really adjudicate those claims as quickly as we can, and to make sure that your clients get their refunds so that they can book their next trip. So it's been an interesting journey, and I keep saying that through all of this, I really do believe that we will come out stronger, and I know for sure that our clients will have a better understanding of the necessity and the need for travel insurance, and especially for booking their travel through a travel professional such as yourself, Derek.
All right, well, thank you very much. And yeah, it has been a very trying time for a lot of people in so many different ways, and on a some for a very personal, on a very personal level, some because of their business and the type what's happening in businesses around, North America and around the world. So, yeah, there's no doubt about it. It's been a very trying time, but as you say, I think we'll come out of this stronger at the end, as we move forward, and that's the purpose of my travel chats, is to know that we're moving forward and that there is light at the end of that tunnel, and it's important for people to be able to sit back and plan their next vacation. And by having you as my guest today, really important to show not only to plan your vacation, but also plan for that protection, because as COVID has shown, things pop up and when you least expect them. So I guess we'll get into just talking about that particular part, and maybe if you can explain to our viewers why travel is important for people to purchase, and now even before this pandemic took place, but now given that the pandemic is there, why it's important to purchase travel insurance.
For sure. And it's interesting, as you mentioned earlier, I've been in the industry for many years, and I've spent a big part of my career on the tour operator side or the supplier side. And I have also spent some time on the retail sides, such as yourself. And then now, as you say, with Allianz for the past 6 years. And I can promise you, I have learned so much about travel insurance throughout these 6 years, and I've seen a lot. And over, I am reminded of why it is so important that when our partners such as yourself are selling travel and building those incredible dreams and creating that wonderful once in a lifetime trip, that a big part of that is making sure that your clients' well-being and their investment is taken care of. So I strongly believe in travel insurance. And in fact, whenever my friends or family mention to me that they are traveling, the first thing I do, even before I start to ask about the wonderful trip that they're about to go on, is I hope you have travel insurance, because it is so important. And when I hear people say, well, I'm healthy, I don't need it, I always remind them that this is for the unexpected. This is for when you least expect it, that there's something that does happen either prior to your trip and you need to cancel your trip. And so you've invested or you've saved for, years to go on that amazing safari. And if you buy insurance and something does happen and it is a covered reason, then you'll get your money back so that you can, once things are better, you can take that trip again. So that's really an important piece. And then, of course, once you actually leave the country, leave your province, you want to protect yourself for emergency hospital and medical. We know anything can happen at any stage and age in life, and anything from an accident, falling and breaking your leg, to a much more serious health issue that has all of a sudden come upon you. So you really don't want to leave your home province without having that protection, because that's an unknown number. And over again, I've heard some amazing stories from people that purchased travel insurance and then had an unexpected situation happen, and they were so grateful that the claim was paid by Allianz, because it would have really had an impact on their personal lives, financially, emotionally, from a stressful point of view. So we strongly recommend that you do not leave your province without having that protection. Some people believe that the insurance that they have in their home province here in Canada will in fact protect them when they travel, but that's not true. And we've seen some sad cases of people that have traveled without it at destination, realize that the expense is far more than that they could afford. And now what do? Not only are they dealing with an unexpected emergency, but now the stress, the financial stress. it's not to scare anybody, it's to prepare them, it's to educate them so that they know what exactly, and it's part of your role as a professional, that duty of care to make sure that they do understand what risks they are taking when they leave the country or leave their province. And then of course there's the interruption piece. So while you're on your trip, if your trip is interrupted, then there's those unknown expenses, of course, for that interruption. If you miss your flight, there's the cost of your flight home. If you end up in the hospital or your trip's interrupted for whatever reason, there's those additional out-of-pocket expenses. Again, that's an unknown. And so we want to protect you from that and, provide you with the coverage that you need so that you're in that moment, that you're well taken care of.
Yeah, I mean, I'm an example of that. Back in 2015, after TPI and your company came together in a partnership, taking myself and my wife on our way over to a special Beaumont Hamel trip in 2015. So before we took our big trip, and all of a sudden we land in London, and the strikers for the decided to shut down the railway over to France, and so all of a sudden we were interrupted and had to make all kinds of other arrangements. And it just took a phone call to your company. The file was set up, things were done, and at the end of the day, everything was settled, and we weren't out of pocket. We went through a little chaos for a few hours or so, but generally speaking, it ran very, very smoothly, and we knew we had that protection before we left, and I guess unfortunately, it was there. Unfortunate for us that we had to go through it, but fortunately that it was protected. So thank you very much for that.
And you're welcome. And thank you for sharing that story, because that's a true story and you've experienced it. And, I'm glad for the outcome that it was, that you were covered, and that it did all come together for you. And as you can imagine, I've heard many, many good stories. And I'm always so grateful that we were there to help. One of the things that you said, that you reached out to Allianz, and that's such an important part. Just knowing that when you travel, when you leave your home province and you travel in this beautiful world that we have, that you're going to be protected in the sense that you're going to reach back to the Allianz Global Assistance team right here in Canada, to our emergency assistance team. And right there on the spot, we're going to help you. And we're going to find out exactly what's going on with your situation so that we can provide you with the right service to help you at that time. So I'm glad that all worked out for you. One thing I will mention, you mentioned that I was in the industry for many years. And so my role with Allianz Global Assistance is to work with you, our travel partners. But it's important to know that our brand is worldwide. We're one of the largest companies in the world, and we're represented in 40 plus countries where we have business units. So we're very, very much connected worldwide in terms of the brand. So it's a very strong brand, which I think is important for your clients when they're traveling the world, that they are with a worldwide brand such as Allianz, because obviously there's benefits that we can reach out to our business units around the world if we did need any help for your specific situation wherever you were traveling. The other thing it's important to note is that the Allianz brand, you will see it in many different distribution channels. So we do sell and provide travel insurance in many different other channels. And it's important to know that when you see the Allianz brand, that you realize that every plan is different. And so not to assume that the plan that you purchased from your travel advisor is going to be the same plan that you may see the Allianz on your credit card. And so it's really important to understand that there are differences, even though we have such a strong brand. So whatever I'm sharing with you today, I'm speaking in terms of the travel insurance plan that you, TPI, sell our travel partners.
Yeah.
I just
I
wanted
mean,
to clarify that.
sure. And, that was kind of my next question is just to, how TPI differs from, because I mean, I myself have a credit card that has the Allianz insurance on it. And so from that standpoint, and I know that the limitations on that card are different than what the program that we do and so on. So, uh, and I guess you really covered it quite well there as far as knowing that there's a difference in what's on the credit card versus maybe what we sell as TPI, as far as inclusions are concerned or exclusions when it comes to the card, and that people understand that while it's the same name, it's different packages. So
Correct. That's right. It is really important, because most people feel that they are covered on their credit card. So when you start talking about travel insurance and making sure that they're well protected and they're adequately protected, they may feel that the coverage they have on their credit card is going to cover their trip. But what we always recommend is, and in fact, we provide you with a list of questions that you can give to your client, that they call their credit card company and they go through those questions so that they better understand exactly the coverage they have on their credit card versus the trip that they're booking, and so that we can make sure they're adequately covered. If what they have on their credit card covers that trip and it's all good and they're happy with the benefits and the limitations and the exclusions, then by all means, we don't want to overinsure anybody. But at the same time, if they discover, for example, on their credit card, they're traveling for 2 weeks on this trip and their credit card covers them for 3 days. That's an important piece of information, because if I break my leg on day 5, I can't put a claim into my credit card. And so we don't want anybody to leave home with only 3 days coverage. So then what we would do is we would sell them your plan and we would top them up for those additional days. Okay. It works the same with the trip cancellation for the sum insured. So assuming I booked a $10,000 trip, if I look on my credit card, I call them and they tell me, oh, yes, you have coverage, which is great. And how much is that? It's $1,500. So it's capped at $1,500. So what that would mean is if I went on the trip with just that coverage and I did have to put in a claim, or if I had to cancel my trip because of for one of the covered reasons, then I would only be getting $1,500 back. Yeah. And therefore I'd be losing that. That would be a concern. So we would top that one up so that the $10,000 was protected. So it's really just a matter of, understanding what you have already and knowing what you're selling, what TPI is selling, and making sure that your trip is protected.
Sure. And there's, again, just for the viewers, on my website, all of those Allianz forms that show the various differences in cards and our program there's actually a document on my website that will provide them with that information.
Perfect. That's great. That's very helpful. There's a lot of questions to ask, and it can be confusing for a consumer. We know that for a client. And so that's why we want to help them, walk them through that so that they do ask all the right questions. We don't want them to leave home if and they think that they're covered and then disappointed at claim time.
That's right.
Yeah.
One of the big things I know with Allianz is the cancel for any reason program that is I guess an add-on rider to the all-inclusive type packages. Can you give our viewers just an understanding of the cancel for any reason and some of the components that make that so important?
Absolutely. And I'm glad that you asked that question, because in my mind, so if I go back to my friends and family that are traveling and they say to me, well, what should I be buying, Susan? I always say, if they know they don't have any other insurance, I always say that the best coverage today is to offer your clients the all-inclusive plan, So that includes the trip cancellation and interruption and the emergency hospital and medical. And then I always suggest that they add the cancel for any reason, because you can add that to any trip cancellation plan. So you're going to add that to that. And then now the third piece that I recommend is that now that we do have the COVID-19 emergency hospital and medical insurance, that you add that. When you combine those three together, they're getting the most flexible coverage and flexibility in terms of reasons to cancel. So cancel for any reason. As I said, you add that to any trip cancellation policy. On your trip cancellation policy, based on the plan you're selling, you are entitled to 26 covered reasons. So 26 reasons that if I need to cancel my trip, I will get 100% of my money back.
Okay.
So you have 26 reasons. Now, what the cancel for any reason does when you add that to it is it really opens up the ability to submit a claim for any reason. So cancel for any reason. So that may be as simple as, I'm not comfortable with my hair, I want to cancel my trip, to something as serious as when I'm looking at there's something that might be happening in my life. I want the flexibility to be able to cancel for any reason.
Sure.
So what's important with the cancel for any reason piece is, the first part is that from your perspective, I know that you always talk about travel insurance when you're talking about travel. So it's like part of that conversation. It's not a separate conversation. It's a very holistic approach. So you're talking about the insurance all along. With the cancel for any reason, what's most important is that your clients know that they need to purchase that as soon as they're at risk for any money, at loss for any money. So I put a deposit down today. My final payment is not due for 3 months. I need to make the decision within 24 hours that I'm going to buy the insurance with the cancel for any reason. Okay. If I wait, I don't have the option to add cancel for any reason. So that's number one. And I know that you present it right from the get-go so that you know that. So that's the first thing. And then the other thing is important for them to know, if they decide for whatever reason that they're going to cancel their trip, they need to understand the way the benefits are paid out, because that cancel for any reason is really a very high risk product. You want to be covered for any reason, that we have the benefits tiered. So up until 7 days prior to departure, if I cancel that $10,000 trip for any reason, it's not one of the insured 26, it's for any reason, sure, I will get 75% of my money back. So okay. I'll get $7,500 back. So if I had canceled for one of the insured reasons, I would have got 100%, but now flexibility gives me 75, which is good. Okay. If between 6 days and 48 hours prior to departure, I cancel that trip, I get 75% back, but it's capped at $1,500. So as we get closer to the departure date, you can see the benefits are tiered. It's a higher risk. So now my $10,000 that was $7,500 is now $1,500. Okay. And if I wait till 48 hours prior to departure and then cancel, then there's zero paid out on the cancel for any reason benefit. So you can see it's a great product to have as part of your insurance plan, because it gives you that flexibility in terms of making that decision, but you really want to be aware of how that responds at claim time. When your client puts a claim in, their reason for canceling is personal reasons, whatever they put. It still goes through we still have to adjudicate a claim. They Sure. can't just send us the claim information and that's it. We have auditors and regulators. We have to follow the rules. We still adjudicate the claim as we would with any other claim. But what it's really doing is it's giving them the ability to submit a claim for any reason, versus if they didn't buy that and they did have a reason that they needed to cancel that was not one of the 26 reasons, and they submitted that claim, it would be a denied claim.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yeah, just off the top of your head, what are some examples of the 26 reasons? I know we can't go through all 26 of them, but just some that you're more familiar with.
Sure. And when that's a really good question. And what I always recommend to you and all of my partners is, when you are talking to your clients about travel insurance, it's really important that you go over the 26 covered reasons, because they're not going to apply. Every single one is not going to apply to everybody. But as you're going through those or drawing their attention to those reasons, they can see the ones that are important to them that they want to make sure they're covered for. And we actually have it broken down into different categories. So we have, for example, under health. So if you have had an emergency for your own personal health, that's a reason to cancel your trip. And everything from if, for example, work, for example, if there was a cancellation, I'm just going to read it to you so you can hear it. Yeah. If there was a cancellation prior to your departure of a business meeting that you are required to attend by your employment, or a conference arranged by your professional association, and the cancellation is beyond your control or the control of your employer, as long as we get the information, we have all of the information that the business meeting was planned before you bought the insurance policy, all of that, then you would be covered. So there, it's a real range, and I would strongly recommend that you go over them. But there's another one, for example, legal. If you're called to jury duty and now you have to cancel your trip, we need proof. We always need proof backup for any of these, that you were called to jury duty. So you can see there's a range of covered reasons.
And again, just for viewers, on my webpage at embtravelservice.ca, those booklets and all those policies and the inclusions and exclusions are also listed there. So
on your that's
yeah.
Fantastic. And the other one that I wanted to recommend, just to mention, is insured risk number 25. And that is the one that so many of our clients submitted claims based on number 25. And that was if Canadian Global Affairs issues a warning to avoid all travel or all unnecessary travel to a destination, then that would give you a reason to cancel. Okay. So you bought your policy, there was no advisory prior to departure, an advisory is issued. That is a reason to submit a claim and get your refund.
Sure.
So that one, I just wanted, and when I talk about that, in terms of best practice, the Canadian Global Affairs, we always recommend that you and your clients check the advisory when you're booking the trip, when you're booking the insurance, to make sure there's no advisory at that time. And if there is, the client needs to understand that will now be an exclusion because it's a known event.
Yeah.
So it's that clause that's very important to be aware. But the other time to check it is prior to your departure. Yes. Because it could have been issued between the time you booked your insurance to the time you departed. And if you didn't check and you traveled against an advisory, then you're not going to have coverage at destination. So it's important that advisory is very key. That's what we follow as an insurance company, the Canadian Global Affairs advisories. Excellent. There's lots of great information on that site as well.
So as we begin to clue up, what are, I know you kind of started to go into it, what are some things that travelers should be aware of as we move forward with COVID? You made reference to the COVID amendment to the policies and stuff, and any other factors that are impacting the travel industry for scheduled or unscheduled cancellations.
So where we are right now in today's environment, and as you know, we were saying, it's changing daily. We're hearing all kinds of, we're getting all kinds of press releases about the vaccine. There's been a couple of vaccines now that are getting closer. We're hearing more and more about the, in the US, they're starting to slowly open up this free sail, or starting to sail again in terms of cruising. So we're starting to slowly see the window as things are starting to change, in that direction. However, we still have an advisory not to travel.
Yeah.
And as an insurance company, we take that very seriously. When the Canadian government puts that out, they feel it's not safe, we need to follow that. However, we also recognize that there are a group of people out there that may need to travel for whatever reason, or feel comfortable in traveling. And so we recognize that we want to make sure that they are protected if they do decide to travel while we have this advisory in place. Okay. And so not to motivate or incentivize them to travel, but really to be there to protect them if they do need to travel. We launched our COVID-19 emergency hospital and medical, and it has a little bit of interruption insurance. Okay. So they would absolutely want to purchase that at this point. What's important is that they understand, that everybody understands that that policy is a complete standalone policy. It's not, as I was talking about, the all-inclusive, the cancel for any reason and add in the COVID-19. They don't interact per se. Okay. That's a separate policy, the all-inclusive. Then you would go back into our system and then you would sell a COVID-19. So it's a standalone. So you can sell that plan to somebody that comes to you and says, I have medical insurance, but it excludes COVID-19. So you can sell that as a complement to whatever insurance that they have. Okay. And then for us, we strongly recommend, again, that your clients, if they're traveling, that they definitely have, if not any other plan, they have their plan, for our plan for the emergency hospital and medical, to cover all the other reasons that could happen emergency hospital and medical at destination other than COVID-19. Yes. So you see how it stands alone, but you can sell it both ways, either as a complement or a standalone. But it's important to know, what are the parameters of that plan? There's $1 million of emergency hospital and medical. So if I am tested positive at destination for COVID, and I have purchased this plan prior to departure, then I will be entitled to $1 million in emergency hospital and medical. That's really important to know. That plan can be sold to anyone that is a Canadian citizen, 15 days or older. They have a provincial health plan in place, and that they are a Canadian resident. So it has to be purchased before they depart, just like it's emergency hospital and medical. If they buy it before they depart and they get down to the destination and decide, this is great, I'm going to spend another week, we'll extend it for them as long as they call us before it expires. So it's really important that they understand. Today, we don't have the time to go deep on the product. I've given you a little bit of a high level, and so your clients can call you for more information, so you can really help them to be prepared and understand what exactly they're getting when they buy this policy.
Sounds great. Well, thank you very much, Susan. It's been very interesting, and I hope the viewers have gotten some information and understand how important travel insurance is. It was important before COVID, but even now with COVID and moving forward, to be able to protect themselves, most importantly, and also protect an investment. So really appreciate you taking the time this afternoon to chat with me and be part of this discussion. And hopefully at the end of it, we will we'll see people back traveling and feeling comfortable in traveling again, and hopefully because they they know that they have the coverage and the backing of people like yourself at Allianz Insurance. So thank you very much.
Well, and thank you for this opportunity. It's been a pleasure, and I hope that it's given some meaningful thought so that people can actually, there's going to be more questions, but I know that they're going to come to you. And I just want to say thank you for all of your support and, for the service that you provide your clients and your concern that making sure that they are well protected. I think this was a great opportunity. So thank you so much. And I totally believe that we will come through this and we will be stronger and we will be traveling again soon.
Okay. Well, to my viewers, just so you know, next Thursday, I will have Louise Paquette from Tourism Jamaica on. So I look forward to talking and talking Jamaica Man with Louise. So thank you again. And everyone, please have a wonderful afternoon. And Susan, I wish all the best of the Christmas season to you and your family.
Thank you. Same to you.
All
Have a
right.
great day. Thank
Take
you.
care. Bye-bye.
Bye.